Hello. Hey, there we go. I think we are live now. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. This is a different view. I'm doing this on just the YouTube live. I'm used to doing it on StreamYard. So I'm trying to catch my bearings here. And it's different because in StreamYard, I can go in and adjust things beforehand, but I couldn't figure out how to do that on the YouTube live. So it's all new to me. I'm learning everything as I go, right? You say hi. Say hi. No, you just want to look. So anyway, happy Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day. We don't have any plans for Valentine's Day right now, necessarily. We don't really celebrate Valentine's Day all that much. Hey, Jamie. How are you? Linda Fall. Good morning. Happy Valentine's Day. Welcome. We don't really celebrate all that much Valentine's Day. I don't see a reason to spend all that money and all the markups and things like that. So we do more of the homemade things and fancy dinners. And yes, baby, you're drooling. And just spending time and being nice to each other. That's how we celebrate Valentine's Day. What about you guys? Anything going on necessarily special for today? Yeah, it's great to see you too, Jamie. What's been going on? Oop, you all right? We can share. It's okay. You want to come sit next to me? Come on. All right, come on up.
I'm getting lip balm.
You're putting on some lip balm? That's a great idea. That is a great idea. I actually have a really busy day planned for today. I am smoking my bacon. Just let him sit down. It's okay. There you go. Here, you want me to scoot over? There you go. I am going to be smoking my bacon and my ham today. They are both ready. I've been curing them. And I'm really excited. This is my first time figuring out how to make our products out of our homegrown meat.
Mama?
Yeah. So there's a learning curve.
Mama?
And for the bacon, I tried 2 different recipes.
Mama?
I tried one just kind of just the cure and black pepper. And then the other one I did a little bit fancier to see. I did 4 slabs of bacon. And I did 2 one way with the pepper and then 2 with the other seasonings. And then of the 2, one of them is going to get smoked. So we'll have a smoked pepper and then just a plain or a non-smoked pepper. And then we'll do the same thing with the seasoned one and see if we prefer one over the other. And the seasonings that I used on the other one is black pepper, bay leaves, and juniper berries. And then the ham, I can't remember actually what the seasonings were. I guess you'll just have to watch the video. So then I cured the ham too. And the bacon's actually been ready to smoke for I think 4 or 5 days now. The ham took longer, but doing the equilibrium cure, if you guys are familiar at all with curing, oh, you guys are cute, with curing meat, the way that it used to be done, or a lot of the ways that people do it, is they just put it, hey, no spitting, please. They just put it in a lot of salt, and then after the curing process, they try to wash it off and get that salt out. And so a lot of people were upset with how salty their bacon was turning out. So a lot of people are switching now to this equilibrium cure where you weigh the meat, and then based on how much meat you have is how much salt and how much sugar you put in. And it's like a 3% salt and a 1% sugar, or somewhere about in that range, to 2.5, 2.25, 3, somewhere in there, depending on how much what you're looking for. But because you're only putting in the amount of salt that you need by the weight of the meat that you have, you can let it cure longer and it's not going to get any saltier. Because once that salt gets in there, that's all that there is. So you can just kind of like let it hang out. And I didn't really feel like bringing my smoker out and doing all the things, because smoking is, it's not like you're just flicking a switch and it's done. It's like a process, right? So I didn't really want to do it twice in 4 days. So I just kind of put a pause on the bacon. And then when the ham was ready yesterday, it had to sit out I did have to rinse off the seasonings and then let it dry out in the fridge for 1 day. And so now I'm going to do the 2 slabs of bacon and the ham, and we'll see how we like those. And I'm really trying to get through my meat. And figure out, baby, you can't squeeze through there. That'll hurt your head. Come around. And by that, I mean like figure out the recipes that I like. So I tried that one breakfast sausage recipe and it was good, but it wasn't great. So I pulled out some more ground pork and I'm going to try another breakfast sausage seasoning recipe sometime this week or this weekend. Because we are butchering our last pig, Frank, on Saturday or Sunday, Saturday evening, and then finishing him on Sunday or something like that. And I want to know if these recipes that I used on the bacon and the ham are something that we're going to want to use moving forward, or if I still have to keep experimenting. I've also been trying to can a lot now that Mike built me that pantry, and make room in my freezer for Frank, because we have kind of gone to the limits of our storage in our freezers. So I think we're at a point where we will have enough space for him. I have 2 big holiday hams from Beans, so I don't think I'll be packaging any more like big hunks of meat. Those are obviously the biggest hunks of meat that there are, is a holiday ham. And I think that'll help. Oh, that thing is so loud, baby. But that's kind of like what I'm trying to like mull over in my head right now. I also, is kind of a last thing that I have to do with Beans, is I still have his head. And we took off the jowls and I let my chickens eat what they wanted, and then I skinned it and all that stuff, but I still have his skull, but it still has like little bits of meat on it, and I want to keep his head intact, his skull intact, because I want to like keep it as a display. basically. He was a really awesome pig. He was our first pig. He had a lot of personality. And so I'm going to, I think today, while I'm going to be smoking, since I'll be out monitoring it and stuff like that. So I think what I'm going to do is take Beans' head and put it in like a big stock pot or shrimp boil bucket over like one of those turkey deep fryer buckets over a flame. And I'm going to boil his head in some water and like Dawn to help break up that fat. And then I think that'll get, like, his eyes are still kind of in there. The chickens did kind of get into them a little bit, but there's still tissue there. And then his brain is still in the middle there. And I don't want to cut his head open because I want his head to be intact. So I have to basically blow out anything that's left in there so that he doesn't stink. But like, we kind of want to put him maybe up on our shed as like our little mascot, just so that we can keep him around and look at him and remember him and remember our first pig. So that's another thing that I have to figure out today. But I've never done anything like that. But like, it's kind of like in deer. It is on, baby. That's why why it's making all that noise. In deer, it's called a European mount when they boil off all the meat and fat and all the tissue, basically, and you're just left with the skull itself, and then they put back on the antlers or whatever. It's called a European mount. But that's kind of what I'm going for, is just the skull intact to put it on display. What do you mean bury it? I don't know. Linda, I don't know. I don't know anything about like what it's going to turn out like. I guess I can't do that in YouTube. Maybe, but then something else could come along, and I would be worried about something bigger coming along and taking it, I guess. I don't know. That seems like a really long, I might have to wait a long time too. I don't know. It's already been like a month that it's been hanging around. Just kind of wanted to get it over with. And with the coloring, I did watch a couple videos on YouTube, and I think you can put it, what did this one guy that I saw, after he washed it in like the Dawn soap to get all like the fat off, he bought, I can't remember what it was, but he did soak his head in something else and it made it white. I guess I'll have to go back and look at that, but I kind of just want to get rid of this head. You playing with that? Yeah. So those are on the agenda for today. But I'd never heard of the burying it for insects to clean it out. That's an interesting thought. I'm sure that would probably work. It's a thought. I don't know. Yeah, busy day every day, Jamie. Life is busy. Life is busy for everybody. And then tomorrow I have to deal with what's in this box. And this is my order from Dixondale. These are my onions. And I've never ordered from Dixondale. Oh, he did do it, huh? Did the insects like clean it out completely, or and how long is a long time? I'm just curious. Now my like wheels are spinning. I want to know more. So I have lots. This whole thing is full of these things. Wow, it smells very oniony in here.
Let me smell. Yeah.
Does it smell like onions?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd never shopped at Dixondale before. I had heard of them, but I'd never done it myself. And they had like sampler packs. So I got the long day sampler pack and the intermediate day sampler pack. So that sent me 4 varieties of intermediates and 4 varieties of the long day. Or short day. I used to be long day. Now I'm short day. Short day and intermediate day. So I got 4 short day, 4 intermediate day, and then I got shallots. And I don't want to like unbox this whole thing because I don't want to make a huge mess in my living room. And I have nowhere to put them. And then I got something else too. I don't see a packaging slip in here. I'm sure there probably is. Or I could look it up online. But there were great reviews. I really enjoyed shopping for these on Dixondale. They had some good reviews and good pictures and advice and things like that. So I'm excited. So tomorrow, it's supposed to be like 61 degrees here today. I had the Pompeii onion seeds too. Those are those the little pearl onions? I grew those in Chicago, and I didn't know, like, when I was living up in Chicago, I didn't even like pay attention to short day, long day, nothing like that. And I grew them in Illinois, and that's the long day. That's in the north, and you're supposed to grow long days up north. And Pompeii's a short day, and it worked fine. And I don't think I grew Pompeii onions no, I didn't. I did. No, I did. I did grow the Pompeii onions last year, and they worked down here too. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it. No one told them they couldn't grow down here or up there, or I've grown them both. Mom? Yeah, baby. But those are like pearl onions. I like to use them in stews. They're cute little things to grow, and they grow fast. They're the only onions that have sprouted from my seeds. I just went and watered my seeds that I put in, was it last week? I think I planted those. And all my kale came up, my broccoli rod came up, my purple broccoli came up. I'm pretty sure my green broccoli, none of those seeds are good anymore. I kind of knew that going into it. I don't think any of them germinated last year either, but none of the green broccoli has germinated. So I think that those seeds are toast. But all my purple broccoli came up, and then my Pompeii onions came up, but none of the other onions have come up, and the celery has yet to come up, but celery takes forever to germinate. So I wasn't very surprised at that. But those Pompeii onions, they're already coming up. So you should like You should like growing those. Just don't expect them to get very big. In Chicago, they actually got like that big. Down here, they only got about this big. But they're fun. They're cute. And I more grow them just for a novelty because I think they're cute and fun. And the boys can help me pull them out. They're not too, it's not like a big onion that you got to like wrestle out of the ground. They can just kind of pluck them up. Yes, exactly. Or I like putting them in like the slow cooker with like a piece of venison or a chuck roast or something like that to make like a stew. They work out really well. My growing season is actually, I don't know how many days it is. Let's Google it. I know I've looked at it before, but I can't remember, honestly. I mean, my last frost is like April 1st or something like that. And my first frost is end of October. So it's pretty long. Nothing saying how many days that is. Let's see. I think the weather's been crazy everywhere, honestly. Yeah, that's how mine used to be as well, Jamie. The weather's been crazy everywhere. The 2 winters that we have been here have gone below freezing for multiple days. And this house was only a year old when I bought it, and they had not had a freezing winter. But even still, their son was living in the tiny house. And so it was like a functioning house and running water and stuff like that. So they didn't have to worry about like water freezing or anything like that. So our pipes in our tiny house have burst both years. First year, it kind of took us by surprise. We did have a space heater in there trying to keep everything warm, but it burst like at the ground. And so then we put heat tape around the pipes and we shut off the water to the tiny house this year. But there was still like 6 inches from the ground to the shutoff valve. So that 6 inches was, and it had insulation around it, but it wasn't enough, and it burst again. So 2 years in a row it's gone. And this year it was below freezing for a week. So unseasonably cold for extended periods of time. And it just is what it is. Yeah. Oh, it's 68 degrees in central Missouri. Yeah. DJ's Adventures and Beyond. Good morning. Yeah. So tomorrow, while it's supposed to be like 65 tomorrow, I'm going to be going and taking, it's 23 by you now, Linda. It's 46 here currently. So yeah, it was pretty chilly this morning. All the animals' water was frozen. It was like 30 degrees when I went out this morning to feed all the animals. Oh yeah. We had 2 nights ago, our whole house got woken up by a windstorm that came through. I was expecting our power to go out because our power goes out here constantly. And it honestly didn't, but the wind was so powerful that it woke the whole house up. And I was expecting to wake up and like see things blown all over our yard because I mean we have kids and they leave things outside and stuff like that. And the only thing that was out of place was the hat that is over the turkey feed got blown off. That's the only thing that I noticed. And Mike didn't have any issues getting down the mountain. Like I was expecting trees down all over the place, but there was nothing. It's crazy. Are you being silly? Yeah. He wants you to go with him. Yeah. Oh yeah, I bet it was a really busy night for you then. We don't have snow plows in Tennessee. It was crazy. Even so, we're like 62 miles outside of Knoxville, and even Knoxville was shut down. Like nobody got plowed. They didn't even try. I don't even think Tennessee owns any. I think like if there's like a big thing, then they would try to like contract in people to plow. Some people have plows that they can hook up to the front of their trucks and stuff like that, but like nothing. Nothing. People were out with shovels trying to clear, because there's a lot of like back roads and rural roads and things like that weren't accessible, and like people couldn't get to the store and obviously did not prepare for being stuck in their house for a week. Mike didn't go to work for a week. And it wasn't it was because we couldn't get out of our house, but his clinic is in Knoxville and they were closed for the week because they were shut down too.
I got a hole in my pants.
Oh my goodness. That's okay. They're jammies.
I want to tell my friend that I have a hole in my pants.
They heard you. That's what happens with hand-me-down clothes. Yeah.
When you're done, I can have some chips.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no snow machinery at all. They did spread, they spread sand, and then they spread something. They spread sawdust and sand, and they do something else. But no kinds of plow machinery. Beet juice, you're right. Yes. You would know, right? Beet juice. Yes, that's exactly what it was. When I heard it, I was like, what? They're doing what? Okay, sure. I don't understand what the beet juice is all about. I'm sure you could probably tell me about that. But I was like, okay. All I can imagine is like red stuff everywhere. I didn't go out, so I don't know. We're all intrigued now, Linda. Yes, it was beet juice. So yeah, DJ, you've been busy, huh? What happened to your car? Yes, it does, Linda. Yes, it does. I'm very familiar being from Chicago. They salt all the time. Devin, what's up, man? Good morning. Hope you're having a good day. Happy Wednesday. Happy Valentine's Day. Is it actually red, Linda? I'm curious now. I can only imagine that, like, that must look like does it cover the ground in red? Does it look like a murder scene? Oh, okay. Fine. Well, that's no fun anymore. Oh, I see. So everyone should go over and sub to DJ. Hey, actually, the date's 14th. On the 17th. No, maybe it's not the 17th. Let me see. Let me look at my calendar here. Next week will be 3 years that I've been doing YouTube. So it's getting to 1,000. It took me 3 years to do. It's a long haul kind of a deal sometimes. And if I was doing it to get monetized, I would have given up a long time ago. Thank you, Devin. Oh yeah, so you have been doing it for a while too. It sure does. And then you still got all your watch hours. So that's a struggle in itself. But what I realized doing this for 3 years is that I do it more for myself than I do it for anybody else. I thought back in the day when I started YouTube, we were dreaming about living in Tennessee and doing what we're doing right now and stuff like that. And I decided to start YouTube and get it going before we moved so that it would be something that I would be comfortable with and understand by the time we moved, because I wanted my Illinois family and Mike's Wisconsin family and stuff like that to be able to watch and see what we were doing. And, you know, our coworkers, Mike and I worked together for a decade. And so our work family was very much our family. And we wanted a place for them to all watch what we were doing because we would talk about it on a daily basis and they would pick our brain and tell us we were crazy and all that stuff. But I did it originally to have a place where all of the people that we left behind basically left to come and watch what we were doing. and see all the stuff that we had been talking about for years and how we were actually making it work. Well, thanks for stopping by, Linda. That was great. Oh, that is so sweet. Oh. Good luck. Be safe plowing. That's some crazy stuff. Goodness. Oh, really, Devin? You're 3 years too, huh? So you're just like 2 weeks behind me. That's awesome. That is awesome. Let's see here. There we go. I don't think, look at that. I was not subbed, DJ. I'll have to, let me put some of these videos in my watch later so that I can make sure that my subscription stays. If you guys are unaware, you do, have to save to watch later. In order to get your stuff to stick, you do have to watch. There we go. All right. So I will watch those later. You have to watch videos that are over 3 minutes, leave some kind of like a response so that YouTube doesn't boot you. Let's see. There we go. Yes. Yes, Jamie. Yes. So I did resub to you, DJ, but I'll have to go watch some videos to get that to stick this time around. So back to tomorrow. What I'm doing is I am gonna jump on my zero turn and hook up a trailer to the back of that, because that is the only piece of machinery, if you will, we have. And I drive the 1/4 mile down my driveway and go around the fence to my neighbor's house and go into her backyard, and I shovel cow poop. Cow poop, yeah.
Cow poop in your garden?
Cow poop in my garden, yeah. And I bring it back and I do loads and loads and loads back and forth because I can only fit so much. And that's what I put in my garden. Oh, Jamie, I didn't know that. You have 3 channels? I didn't know that. I mean, I guess I technically have 3 YouTube accounts, but I only have the 1 channel. I don't even remember one of my sign-ins for one of my accounts. So it's like saved on one of our iPads, and it was my email address from when I was in grad school that I created. And so that email address isn't even active anymore. So it's not like I can like try to recover it. So it's saved into our oldest iPad. So once that iPad has tried to die a couple of times, when that iPad kicks it, that account's gonna be gone. But I do have like my original personal page. Oh, you have a hunting one? That's cool. Yeah, no kidding, right? That's what I'm saying, Devin. I have a hard time just keeping the one channel. I can't imagine doing multiple. Oh, with your dogs. Cool. Well, what's that channel name? So I have to go pick up all these loads of manure and hay and bring them back over, and then spread them over my garden as much as I can. And then I got in-ground garden irrigation that I need to lay, and then I need to plant these onions. So tomorrow's going to be a big, big day. You're there too. Uh-huh. Well, Jamie, put the link, man, so people can find you. Oh, okay. Ah, you're funny. You're funny. I'm hoping I can get it all done tomorrow. I don't really think that I will, though, because that's really a lot to do. I am, Devin. These onions are new. I don't know if you were on here when I showed this, but I got an order from Dixondale, a big order. So I got like hundreds of onion starts. This is just one of the bundles that I got, and it's full of these. There's like, I don't know, 8 of them in here. No, even more, because there's 4 and 4. And then I got another one, and then shallots. So there's a lot of onions in there. And I usually grow onions from seeds, but we go through so many onions, and I've never had really good success with growing onions from a seed. So I just decided that I would rather have onions, like substantial onions. So I'll just buy the sets. I have come to the conclusion that I cannot do it myself with the seeds. I can do the Pompeii onions. I can grow good shallots, or at least I grew good shallots in Chicago. We'll see how they go down here. But at least I'm growing them, and this is a lot of onions, and I'm super excited about it. So that I've never grown onion starts. I've gotten like the little bulbs. I don't even know what they call those. There's the link. Oh, you're big onion lovers. Yeah. Yeah, and my boys are like, "Oh, are you putting onions in that?" And I'm like, "Yes, I am." And they're like, "We don't like onions." And I'm like, "I beg to differ. I put onions in a lot of things and you love it." But like they'll like pick them out of some things. I'm not trying to give them like French onion soup or anything, but I'm like, they add so much flavor. I love onions. And Jamie, you haven't grown garlic? That is like the easiest, most rewarding crop I have ever grown. And it grows everywhere. I mean, you have to get the right varieties for your region or whatever. But definitely do garlic. And I planted my garlic way later than I planned to. When we first moved in October of 22, we moved in. I gotta like figure out. I planted my garlic on Thanksgiving. No, just after Thanksgiving while we were setting up for Christmas. So it was like that last week of November, I planted them the first year that we lived here. Then this past fall, I was like, I ordered my garlic early. I'm like, I got to get this in before I did last year. And this year I planted it like the first week of December. And I was like, well, there goes that idea. And I got like a 98% germination rate. I think only like two or three of my cloves have not germinated. And maybe something came by and took them out. I don't know, but I've never had such. So I got two different varieties. I can't remember exactly what they were. One was a Vietnamese, and I've never grown soft neck either. I grew lots of hard neck up in Chicago, and I had the scapes and everything like that, and I really like that. But now in the South, you grow soft necks, work better. And I've never grown a soft neck. I grew hard necks the first year that we moved here because that's like the stock that I had coming from Chicago. I saved my garlic. So I grew hard necks down here the first year. And they did okay, not great. Last year's garlic harvest was pretty abysmal. The difference between a hard neck and a soft neck. Only hard neck varieties will give you a scape, first of all. And then the actual neck of the top shoot of the garlic is actually like stiff and rigid, and like the soft necks are the ones that people make braids out of and stuff like that. Hard necks are like that shaft is hard. And then they're just more frost tolerant, and they're made for more northern climates. It's just another kind of variety deal. So I am kind of bummed that I won't get the scapes, but the scapes were a blessing and a curse, honestly, because it's an extra crop. It's tons of flavor. They're really cool. And when they send them off, they get like this like curly Q on them. And that's like their blossom to make the next generation of garlic. So if you like cut them young, you can cook them up like asparagus, and then you got like a garlicky asparagus. But if you like let them flower, then it's going to put energy into that flower and not into your garlic clove. But I definitely recommend growing garlic, Jamie. Do it this fall. And it's like the coolest thing. If you think about it, you're starting you would be starting your 2025 garlic in 24, so you're starting because then you harvest them for you'd want to plant them in October. You start them in October and then you harvest them in about July. Chelsea, welcome. How hard is it for you to move out of state and start a homestead? Well, I think that's kind of a hard question to answer because it's going to be different for everybody. It was extremely logistically complicated. There's a lot of parts. I also have young children, and the biggest thing for us was we had this plan. We knew what we wanted, and to execute it in a timely manner because our son was starting school. And we don't homeschool. My kid is in public school. So when we decided that, this is the year that we're going to do it, we had to make sure that we were where we were going to be in time for him to be in school. We did not want to, bring him somewhere, have him start school, and then have him move. So we were really trying hard to find our house, and that did not happen for us. We did not find a house. So luckily for us, my dad was also moving down here. So he actually found his home and we moved in with him. And it just so happens that we found our forever home in the same school district. Thank the Lord. It all worked out for us. But that was our biggest logistical thing, was getting my son in school. Everything else just kind of falls into place. And then I haven't worked since we've moved, but my husband, the other part of moving was getting financing to buy a house. We couldn't buy a house until he had a job in Tennessee. We could buy it as a secondary home, but we couldn't buy it as a primary residence until he had income from Tennessee. And then the other problem that we ran into was the job that he got in Tennessee, because we didn't know where we were going to live. So it was hard for him to find a job. We knew the area about where we wanted to live, but we live in between Knoxville and Chattanooga, and Nashville's kind of is too far, but we live equidistant pretty much between Knoxville and Chattanooga. And he was, it was like, where are we going to live closer to? Where should I look for a job? So he actually got a contract job, and the contract company isn't a Tennessee company. So then we had to get the hospital that he was working for at the time to say he is our employee. He is employed in Tennessee. Give them funding. That was like a big deal. So finding a job in the area or even in the state, that was a hard thing for us. Everything else, it's in the grand scheme of things, when you're going through it, it feels crazy and hectic, but it always seems to work itself out, and you deal with just one thing at a time. If you think big picture, you overwhelm yourself. And it's all dependent on what you need for your own personal move, or your family, or your wants and needs, and all that kind of stuff. And then starting the homestead is a whole nother topic all in itself. We've been here for a little over a year, and you're never done. It's an ongoing process. We got virgin land, and we've done everything that is here. We got a brand new house and no structures, and no gardens or nothing. So you just do one thing at a time and you get what you need, make your priorities, and figure it out along the way, I guess. I don't know how else to answer that question. If you have anything more specific, maybe. But it is kind of crazy. But I don't regret it at all. And it did work out. We did do a lot. And we felt it. And I have, speaking of trees, Devin, I have a filbert tree, 2 raspberries, and a grape waiting to be transplanted into my food forest when I can get around to it. And then Tennessee actually has a national tree. I think it's around, it must be around Earth Day or something like that, but they offer Tennessee residents trees at a discounted rate. And like I paid, we got like 25 trees, like red buds, and we got some, I think we got some elms, and we got like a plum tree, and I don't know, I'll go through the whole thing, but there was like fruits and nuts and flowering trees and stuff like that, and each one was only like $2. So that was a steal if you know anything about trees. Yeah, so Chelsea, that's like the big question, like that was also something that we were having to contemplate too. Like, do we look for our house first and try to buy our house first and then try to sell our house? Because it's like, where's your jumping off point? Like, what do you start with? Chicken or the egg, right? And that's when we started to realize that we couldn't get a mortgage to buy the house without having a job in the state. So then it came down to him getting a job, and then we kind of focused it around that. That was, he got the job first.
Can I have my chips now?
Chips?
Yeah, you said I didn't have some chips after it.
Oh, I did not, sir.
Yes, you did.
Oh, you're funny. Whoa, that's a lot, Devin. Oh, in your fridge, did you do like a big bucket of them? That's cool. I got chestnuts trees with my original batch of trees, and they did nothing. They never. So this order that I got was from Tai Tai's nursery, and so you can buy like different varying sizes of trees, like anywhere from like 1 to 2 feet, anywhere to like giant trees if you want to spend hundreds of dollars per tree. So with the chestnuts, I got like the 1 to 2 foot trees, and they never germinated. They never did anything. They just fizzled out, dried up. I have a plum tree out there that I got last year, but I bought another plum from this Tennessee thing. I mean, and I had to, just choose from what they had, but the good thing about buying it from your state is they're only going to give you things that are good for your area. So that's really cool. 6 apple trees in October. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. It's exciting, but it's like you're in it for the long haul for sure. It's a long game. When we were planting out our food forest, Mike and I were exhausted. And I kept telling him, I was like, 10 years from now, us is going to be so happy with what we're doing today. We're almost done. We're in it for the long haul. 10 years from us today, we'll be so happy. Like, just trying to like cheerlead us through it because we were exhausted. But yeah, it's like 10 years before you see anything from a tree, a fruit or a nut tree. Yes. All right, here you go. Can you put this back? Carter, you want a piece of salami, baby?
Here he comes. Come here, I got one.
You know, and like with the chestnuts, I wanted hazelnuts, but they didn't have them, so I settled on chestnuts because I was like, do I really want chestnuts? And I figured, oh, can you put this back? Thank you. I figured they'd be similar, but in the end, I was like, I really wanted a hazelnut. So that's why I got this filbert. So I'm really excited for that. And I bought like a 4 to 5 foot filbert. And this order that I have with the filbert and the raspberries and the grape is actually a reimbursement for the chestnuts, the 2 chestnuts and the Concord grape I got from Tai Tai's, and all 3 of those things didn't survive. So they did refund me. They don't refund you like the whole thing, but if you report it within the year, they will refund just the price of whatever that plant was that you bought it for. But like the shipping and service and all that stuff, obviously you're not going to get that back. So I used the credit from the chestnuts and the Concord to buy the filbert and raspberries and Concord. And then I think I still had to pay maybe $20 or something like that. Oh, you're doing them for the deer? Yeah, that would be, I mean, and I could feed them to like the pigs and stuff like that. But since we we don't want the deer getting into our food forest. So that's definitely not why we're growing them. But yeah, that would be a good one. You have 100 wild persimmon trees. That's crazy. I have 1 wild persimmon tree, and I didn't even know that was like a thing. I've never seen persimmon tree. And I had my bee mentor over, and I'm like, do you know what this thing is? It's dropping these fruit, and they looked kind of like a persimmon, but they were small, So I was like, what is this thing? And he goes, it's a wild persimmon. And I was like, I didn't even know there was a thing. And so I gave them to the pigs, and the pigs loved them. But I only have the 1 as far as I know. But 100 wild persimmon trees. Yeah, that's awesome. And the deer don't come up to eat our persimmon because it's right off of our driveway. So I think most of the time they try to stay a little further away from us. But now we got to figure out where we're going to put these other trees that I got. It's always something, right? But it's fun stuff. It's fun. And now I feel bad because Mike did all this work on his hunting area, and he cleared all these trees and got a salt lick and did all this and that and opened it up so that he could actually shoot in there without hitting a tree. And then my neighbor got a dog that was a stray that just showed up at his house and then never left. So he basically adopted her. And he's told me what kind of a breed she is. I've never heard of this breed, but it's a hunting dog. And she's like short, kind of stocky, about the same size as she's a medium breed dog. Similar build to like a pit bull, but she's not. She's got like this narrow face. But the problem is she's a hunting dog and she is out all the time and she chases the deer. And we've told him that Mike hunts. And we've seen his dog on our land. And I have seen her chasing these deer. And it's like, so Mike's like, well, all that work is, and last year she treed something off in the woods in our neighbor's woods. And she barked for like 24 hours with whatever she treed, she barked for 24 hours. So he's like, well, now I gotta move my hunting spot because Sheba ruined it. She's running off the deer or I'm going to shoot her on accident, but mostly she's run off the deer. So now he's got to figure out where he's going to make his hunting area now that, the deer have a very strict pattern and he was tracking it all season or, all year they had a very strict pattern. And then the wildfire came and that threw their pattern off because obviously that drove them away. But then they came right back. But then that's when Sheba showed up. And now we don't see, so every once in a while we'll see them, but they do not, they've altered their path because they don't want to get run off by her. So that stinks. Yeah, that sounds like the same kind of tree that I have, but the deer and the coyotes have stayed away as far as I can tell because they're all over the ground. I had to rake them up for the pigs. Yeah, the dog issue is that's like my biggest issue with the area that I live in is that dogs are everywhere. No one cares for their dogs. I guess they do. But they just let their dogs run free and they don't care. And even if you talk to people about their dogs coming onto your land, they laugh it off. Like, oh, they're just coming to check out the chickens. Oh, they're just coming to, oh, they're sweet. And I'm like, that's not the point. My dog is sweet too, but she doesn't leave my yard. And dogs, my dog is super sweet. I've never seen her get angry at anything. And we have had dogs come onto our land, come face to face with her, and she hasn't started anything. And she doesn't even growl. She just sits there and looks at them. And I'm sure she would play with them, but it doesn't take much to change a dog's mind and make them aggressive or, if they read a situation differently or whatever. And I never want to put my dog in a situation where she feels like she needs to protect me or my boys or my animals or my land or anything. That's not fair. I also don't trust anybody else's dogs because I don't know anybody else's dogs. And I need to protect myself and my children and my dog and my animals. And I hate it. I was walking down my side yard where Frank is in the evening to go feed Frank. And all of a sudden I'm being barked at. And where Frank is very, very, very far into my land. Like a good acre into my land. Maybe even 2 acres into my land. And I had my behind me neighbor has 2 pit bulls and they are nice. I think. I mean, that's the one dog. This dog that was barking at me is the one dog that came face to face with her, and neither one of them were aggressive, but they're both very powerful dogs. And God forbid they are playing and they get too rough or something like that. Like, it just freaks me out. And she's barking at me and I'm yelling at her. I've had to yell at her multiple times to go home. And usually she just turns around and beelines it back. And I'm like, okay, well, she's not being aggressive, but I know the minute that I'm like, oh, hi, Luna, and pet her, she's going to come back all of the time. And I don't want her to think it's okay to come back into my yard. I was out feeding the animals one day and one of my neighbor's dogs got zapped by my pig fence because they came to check out the pigs. And I'm like, like, I don't know what else to do. And like I told my back neighbor, I'm like, hey, Luna came for a visit again. And her sister is staying on her driveway, on her road, barking. So there's 2 of them. And I'm out there by myself, thank God. But it, like, anything could set a dog off, even a sweet dog. And I don't like it. I don't like it. Yeah. And so I told him, and he's like, oh, she's a sweetheart. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but Carter, that is not necessary, man.
Carter hit me on the head with a toy in the bathroom.
Are you okay? Do you need a hug?
No.
Okay. So yeah, I don't like the dog situation out here now. And like when I just went to go feed Frank just the other day, Mike was outside and I yelled at her to go back and she started to run back. And then she turned around and started coming back. And I'm like, no, go home. And so she like started running back home. And then she turned around and started coming back up. So I started yelling at her again. And Mike was still outside. And he's like, is she coming back? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, I'll take care of her. He literally had to walk like halfway down our backyard just to get her to go back into her yard and stay there. And like, she's wagging her tail the whole time. And I'm like, again, we found out that the previous owners would feed these dogs. So they like set up like a swing down at the creek, down at the bottom of our land. And I think that they used to lure the girls over, the two dogs in the back, and feed them. But I mean, we've been here long enough now, and every time they come over, we yell at them. And it's really the one. The other one always pretty much stays in her yard. And he does not care. And he is, he's a sheriff, and he uses the one dog that stays in her yard. She's a canine on his unit. She does tack work at the jail. So she's a little bit more disciplined. And I'm like, dude, you should know better. Like, I shouldn't have to every time I walk down. And like, we don't cut our backyard at all because it's like trees and uneven ground and a lot of land, and all I have is a zero turn and not the hours to do it. And they're short, so like I didn't see her. I heard her bark, and then I had to like, I'm like, where is she? How close is she? Like, so now every time I'm down there, I have to like scan my yard to see if she's there again to send her away. But yeah, the Sheba wrecking the deer hunting area, and we talked to him about it, and he's done nothing about it. There was a fence in between our yards when he moved in, and he moved in the year before we did, and he cut the fence down because the laws in Tennessee are if the fence is on the property line, it is the property of both neighbors. If it's on the property line, anyone, either neighbor can do whatever they want with the fence. It becomes the property of both owners. So he was in full right under Tennessee law to chop it down. But now I feel like we gotta put something else up, but that's just like another expense. And we want to fence in our backyard because that's where we want to have cows in the next. We wanted to have it this year, but it's just too much of an expense and too much going on this year that we can't really.
I have my chair.
Okay. So that's something that'll probably have to wait. But yeah, now he's got to watch the deer again and figure out where he's going to go hunt now and hope that he doesn't do it all in vain again. Because I don't see Sheba stopping at all. But there's absolutely nothing that we can do about it. So there's no point in dwelling on it. We just got to deal with it. But my son is looking for some munchies, so I better get off of here before he explodes. You're acting like you're going to explode, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been great to chat. I'm going to start to try to do these lives again in order to help out with my watch hours, because those are just not easy to come by. But also I just like to chat. So I'm going to try to do these more often. I was kind of trialing this Wednesday at 10 o'clock Eastern thing to see how many people were interested and available at this time. Evenings are not good for me, at least. And so I think I'm probably going to stick with this, and we'll just keep on keeping on. So I hopefully will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Yes, you too, Devin. Have a great day, everybody. Have a great Valentine's Day. Spread the love and be with your loved ones. Have a good day, everybody.